Welcome to the Candy Coated Podcast, where we serve up a sweet blend of girl talk and enlightened conversations with special guests from diverse backgrounds. From travel, food, to friendships, relationships, and family, we'll explore a wide range of topics with a fresh and unique perspective. Join us on this Candy Coated journey as we tackle important issues and have a little fun along the way. Hi, amigas. Welcome back to the Candy Coated Podcast. This is your amiga, Candy. I hope that you are all having a fantastic start of the week, middle of the week, whenever you get the chance to listen to this episode. And I just wanted to start off with, I've never been the type to be interested in like a tour or like a museum. I think when I was young, I always thought about traveling just to like go eat or just like visit trendy places. But as I grow older, I appreciate the little things in life. I appreciate going through a museum, knowing about another culture, about another type of food that's out there. I'm a very picky eater because I'm always scared that I won't like the food and then I'm not gonna be fulfilled for the rest of the day. So during our trip in Miami, we had this food tour. We got to experience Little Havana, a piece of Little Havana, because I don't think it makes justice to what they actually provide with the food, with the drinks, just the experience itself. The way that it worked, I think my man paid like a flat fee and we were able to experience coffee, empanadas, sandwich cubano, mojito, and a dessert, which was their most known ice cream called azúcar. After that food tour, I was just amazed. I realized that when there is a food tour available, I want to take it. I would love to try that food and just be given the history behind it. I think that sometimes we'll go through life and it's a taco, or it's a taco de pulpo or taco ahogado, or wherever you're from and your signature food is from. Like, I don't think we sit down and realize, okay, where does this come from? I know that in El DF or Ciudad de Mexico, correct me if I'm wrong, they have a torta de tamal. In other places, they have aguachile. So and I'm referring to Mexico just because that's what I know. And so I think that we don't give credit to those type of places. We just go to what's trending on TikTok or what looks cute. But I think that if you're going to pay for an experience, a food tour, a tour, just take the time. And I think that it will change your perspective in a lot of things. For myself, I knew about JF Kennedy's assassination. We learn about it in school. We hear about it, but I didn't know that there was a such thing as a museum dedicated just to that event in our history. After going to that museum, I was left so conflicted. I do not know what to believe. There's so many conspiracy theories, and I'm not about to bore you with what I saw or like what happened, but I do want to just bring light into places like that. Take the time to visit your local museum. Take your kids to the museum. Let them know that they should appreciate that. Take them to the library. Public libraries are still a thing. And if I'm being honest, I forgot about the library for years. There's Barnes & Noble, there's Kindle, there's ebooks, PDFs. You buy books, and just the simple experience of going to the library, going to the museum, learning, and just taking the time to realize that we have to appreciate the little things in life. We are so focused. We're eaten by the fast life that we have to live because we have to be successful. We have to like earn a lot of money, and we have to stop and take the time to read a book, go outside, sit down, and just take a breath. Just enjoy, indulge in the beauty of life, because before you know it, it'll be gone. And so the same way that, as you all know, Jackie O lost her husband. And I think that honestly just made me appreciate not just life, but also the person I have next to me. You really just never know when their last day is or when your last day is. So you just have to take advantage of the time you have together, of the time you have with your friends, with your family, and enjoy it to the fullest. I know that sometimes family can be a little hard. I mean, your family dynamic is not the best. So if that's the case, I'm sorry. But definitely be grateful for what you have, the blessings that you've been given, because one day you prayed for that blessing to be in your life. And so to get us started, I would like to just say a quote that Jackie said. And it's, I think my biggest achievement is that after going through a rather difficult time, I consider myself completely sane. And yes, we all go through hardships. And like I said, I think that sometimes it's losing someone physically. Sometimes it's losing someone emotionally. And sometimes it's losing physical things due to a natural disaster, due to something major happening. And so for me and my family, back in 2017, when Hurricane Harvey hit, we lost everything. And I know that it was a really hard time for our city to recover from it. And I think for me, like, I was kind of young, but I heard about Hurricane Katrina. We would evacuate, when Hurricane Ike hit, when all the other hurricanes hit. So we didn't really expect for Hurricane Harvey to hit us as hard as it did. We didn't evacuate. My dad said that he saw on one of the channels that it was going to hit us hard and it was too late to evacuate. So all he did was pray. And we prayed before we went to bed and just left it in God's hands. When we least expected, one of our neighbors called us and said that, our cars were getting flooded, that he could tell that water was going inside of them. And it so happened to be my little old car, my little 1997 car, that water was going inside of it. And I immediately thought, like, my car is getting flooded. That's the end of it. And I just looked at that. My car is getting flooded. Our cars are going to get flooded. I didn't sit down to think that water was going to come inside our home, the home that my dad worked so hard for us to have. The amount of hardships we had to go through, almost losing the house when he was about to lose his leg. Just seeing everything getting flooded. It's a horrible feeling. And it's not the material stuff. I want to reiterate, it's not losing your favorite pillow, your favorite bed frame, or it's more than that. It's the meaning behind the things. You work so hard to have something for something to just come and take it from you in a matter of seconds. When I tell you that water was coming between the walls, when you would expect the water to come from the actual door, it was coming between the walls. And I had actually filled up buckets of water because I heard on the news that we might lose water. My initial thought was, go fill up buckets of water because, we might lose water. We had stocked up our fridge. And so my dad said he had to go turn off the breaker because if the water hits our outlets, it can cause something. So we were, quote unquote, prepared for this natural disaster, or whatever FEMA calls it. But we weren't prepared for the damages it was really going to cause and the emotional distress that it was going to cause my family. So at that time, it was just my parents, my little sister, and our 2 dogs. My middle sister was actually off to college. We had just dropped her off a week ago. So, the water's coming in. My dad decides that we have to leave the house because the water was rising. And so it meant that we had to get prepared. We had to simply put important documentation into a plastic bag that water could not get in, and we had to be a better way. And so we started walking. I remember that I helped carry my little sister. My parents carried both of her dogs. And as we were walking, my aunt actually lives on the street. And my uncle, who he may rest in peace, called us in. And he was like, hey, like, where are y'all going? And we were like, well, water's rising really high. We just have to leave. We said, we're going to neighbor's house. And he's like, no, like, just come inside our house. We'll wait. We were like nonstop calling 911. And the water just kept rising. And actually, one of my neighbors came also. She also came over. And we were just waiting. And we put the kids on top of the cabinets where the water couldn't reach them. The adults sit in the couch between the water, just calling 911, just feeling desperate, calling all the numbers that people would share with us, like, tell them that we had the kids, we had the dogs. And I think that they were like, it's a lot of people. We can come get y'all right now. So they basically just left us there. We spent the whole night just praying. And the water was just nonstop. The rain was simply going. It would not stop raining. It felt like when you put the shower on high and just let it run. And so when it was daylight outside, my dad actually decided that we had to leave. We could not sit in between the dirty water. We just didn't know what was going to happen, right? I think our biggest fear was the water racing through the roof and having to climb on the actual roof and be up there through the night. But thankfully that didn't happen. The water just kind of stayed up to our knees while we were there. And so when we decided to evacuate, we just walked. And my parents actually live about, I want to say, 5-7 minutes from the big freeway. And so all we did, we grabbed a little plastic thing for our dogs, our plastic little cube to put our dogs in, because they were getting a little heavy and we knew that we couldn't carry them. And so we started walking. Our neighbors and their kids also came with us, and we were just walking through the high waters. When we left, the water rose up to, I think, about above my hip. And so we left. We were walking. It was raining. We didn't know where to go. There were many shelters open, but nobody would come and pick us up. The closest shelter was a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes walking. So we decided to just walk to the freeway and just kind of wish for the best. God blessed us because there was a man waiting for his family and decided to give us a ride to the nearest hotel. We were drenched. It was a lot of us. It was our dogs. It was kids. It was a lot of us, but he took us into his home. It was the first time that we touched a dry floor. We were able to dry up a little bit, and we were able to charge our phones, because I forgot to mention that in the middle of the night, with calling 911, calling the Navy, calling the Coast Guard, all the numbers that everybody was giving me through social media, my phone died. Everybody's phone died. And my last tweet and Facebook post was, if someone's seeing this, please send help. And then I put my parents' address. My sister was away for college, like I mentioned. And when she saw that, she immediately lost it. She said that she thought the worst. She couldn't get a hold of us. Nobody could. And so after we were able to charge her phones, she was the first person that I called. And she shared that she was feeling really helpless, being miles away, not being able to help us or just be able to come and rescue us. And it was just really hard. And so after we kind of dried off and everything, we asked the very amazing family that picked us up to take us to the nearest hotel. So we Went to the hotel. We stayed there for a couple of days. I was actually barefooted. I lost my shoes in the water. So I showed up to the hotel barefooted with cuts all over my feet. And we show up with our dogs in this nice hotel, and they don't typically take pets. And so they were actually waiving the fact that we had our pets and everything. And that was the first time that we were able to just wash off. And I mean, we couldn't really change because that's all the clothes we had with us was the clothes we left with. But knowing that we weren't in the water anymore was a better feeling. I think that we didn't think about the aftermath. I didn't think that I wasn't gonna be able to see some of our family members because we completely lost contact with them, and we didn't hear from them till like after 2 days, because some of them still stayed. They didn't leave their house. Or so when we finally got in contact with everybody, it was such a relief knowing that my aunts and uncles, cousins, my grandma had all made it out of the high waters. And so we were all hungry. And I remember walking from one end of the street to the other and just looking for food, and all the gas stations, everything was just gone. Like there was no food. And so I remember going, I think it was about a whole day and a half without eating. But during that time, it was really hard because my little sister was little. My neighbor had her little baby who still drank milk out of a bottle, and we couldn't find him milk. And so just looking back, it was really hard. And I think that, yeah, we left and we were able to seek shelter in that hotel. We didn't think about the aftermath, and it was hard, and we would get emotional, and we would see like, oh yeah, it's flooded, and yeah, we lost this and our cars. But the first time that we went back to see our house completely destroyed because of the water, when my dad first opened the door, like I didn't care that there was an animal, that there was a snake. It was really hard to see that our hard-earned stuff had been taken away in a matter of hours. I didn't sit down to realize like, oh, it's gonna take us about a week to clear everything. And being the oldest, I had to step in, and I have no brothers. I had my neighbors were busy cleaning their own homes, so I had to step up, and I helped my dad remove the doors. I helped my dad take out the heavy furniture because it was just my mom, my dad, and I. We never allowed my little sister to see the aftermath because it was really hard. And we knew that if it was traumatizing in that sense for us, she was a lot smaller, and it would have been harder for her to kind of come back from that. And so it was just us. We tried to save what we could, but some of the things weren't able to save it. Like I remember my dad and my mom were crying because their wedding album got destroyed. And my parents, they have been together for about more than 30 years, and they just love each other unconditionally. And seeing that their biggest memory and biggest life-changing moment just kind of disappeared in that sense. It was hard. It was hard seeing that just everything. We had to get rid of a lot of things, take out bed frames, take out dressers, take out clothes, take out my little sister's toys, all of her Barbies, all of her little monitos. And I think the hardest part was that my sister's worst part was that she left the house one way, and when she came back to our home being completely destroyed. So I think for my sister, like even though she wasn't here, she had it the hardest because she couldn't process. I was here when we took out the furniture, we cut down the sheetrock, and we removed a lot of things. What I saw whenever they put in the new things in, the new frames, the new driveway, I was there for the whole process, helping my mom and helping my dad, whatever way I could. But my sister wasn't there for all of that. And so when she would come visit, we actually had to live in a hotel for 4 months while our home was getting fixed. And it was an adjustment. It was hard just because we were so used to our own routine, having our own restroom and our own room. And we went from all of those commodities to one hotel room with 2 beds and 1 restroom. So I had to adjust my work schedule. Well, like at least my morning routine, right? Like I couldn't wake up at the same time my dad did because then he had to get ready for work. And I couldn't wake up at the same time my sister did because she had to get ready for school. So there was a lot of adjustments, a lot of eating out because the hotel room did not have where we could cook. We were strictly eating fast food and just kind of eating out. And it definitely took a toll on us because we started to feel stress. We started to feel like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, we were safe, but the aftermath was just very stressful. I spent my birthday in the hotel room with a little store-bought cake and just my mom, my dad, my sister, my best friend, and one of my aunts and uncles and my cousins. And I was really grateful that I was there, but it was hard not having the usual like birthday party or where everybody was able to come. Our hotel room was really small, so that's all we could really fit. My dad's birthday, we spent it there as well. My sister's birthday, we spent it there as well. And so all of this comes to say that we went through a really hard moment, but the fact that we endure, that we still push through and just work together as a family and individually. I know that for me, I did not take days off. I still went to work. I would go to work and I had to go in my little old car because there were no rentals. And so I would show up to work with like my pants wet because the whole seat was wet. I would put a trash bag over it and that did not do the work. And so they were like, there's a leave if you want to take it because you went through that, you were affected. And I said, no, like for me, like to keep my own sanity, I had to go to work. I had to have some sort of routine in my life so that I could feel somewhat normal, somewhat like I wasn't really affected. And so I remember the support was definitely there from friends. My best friend actually went and she washed the shoes that she could. She tried to save as many shoes of mine. Some were completely destroyed and she couldn't. She tried to wash my clothes as much as she could so I could have clothes to go to work. She bought me a lot of different things. I had different friends from all over, coworkers buying me different things. And it's not like the things, it's the meaning behind it, that no matter what you go through, when you have people next to you, and even if it's just you, the fact that you endure a hardship as big as that, and you don't let that define you, that says a lot about you. Because yes, we all go through things and some are worse than others and some don't come back from it. The way that you handle things, the way that you go through life and you decide to let it affect you is what says about your character. And so I know that a lot of people were affected in one way or another with Harvey. Like I mentioned before, you've lost someone one way or another, but you can't let that define you, and you can't sit there and just feel in that victimized role. You have to be able to stand up for yourself, to continue pushing. If you have a family, push through for your kids, for your own self. Again, I know that your family dynamic may not be like mine, but push for that. Continue going forward and enjoying those little times and enjoying life, because you really never know when it's going to be the last time on earth. And I think that you have to make it count. And sometimes when you think you lost your purpose, whatever it is, that if you pray, if you meditate, if you read books, you're going to find your purpose again. And you need to make sure that you make it count. No matter what you go through, no matter how it feels, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it's really long and it takes you really long, you'll get there. So do what makes you happy. Go to therapy, take your medicine, take that walk, take that hot girl walk, go work out, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. Just indulge in the little moments that life has for you, because it won't stop for you. It doesn't matter how hard life gets. It's not going to stop for you. It doesn't stop for no one. And time continues to click. And so you just have to make sure that no matter what it is that you go through, and that you don't let it define you. And even if you're going through something and you have it in your heart to help, then do it. For me, yes, we lost everything. We were cleaning. But when I had one of the really important people in my life, she came and brought cleaning supplies to distribute to our community, I still went. I distribute those items into my own community. I was passing out Gatorades to the men trying to take out the sheetrock. Some people brought us lunches, packed lunches, and we distributed. I would walk around the neighborhood. We did as much as we could, because at the end of the day, people will remember that impact you left in their lives. So remember that when you want to do something because it is the good of your heart to do it. Don't let no one give you that approval. Don't seek that approval. If it comes out of your heart and it's something that you want to do it. Don't think about it twice, because I think that sometimes we sit there and think about it, and then it loses its purpose if you don't go through with it. And so with that being said, it's come to an end. I hope that you all were able to just take a little bit from what I said. And remember, do what makes you happy. Visit a museum. Take the tour. Go travel. Go eat the food that you've always been so scared to eat, but it catches your attention. Just remember that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and what you go through does not define you.
Hi amigas, thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at the Candy Coated Podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok as the Candy Coated Podcast, and also visit my website candycoatedpodcast.com. As always, thank you so much for all the love, the support you give me, and I hope you have a great day, amiga. Bye.